execute early on, find a rhythm of the game, and then go finish in the fourth quarter.
The whole season on the line for the Buckeyes. Nobody giving the Wolverines a chance to win this game. Howard in trouble! Incomplete! Ohio State turns it over on downs. And the Michigan Wolverines will shock the college football world. And now there's some skirmishes going on the field.
You got to fire Ryan Day.
If there wasn't a 12-team playoff, Ryan Day would be...
I think he would be fired.
Is Ryan Day the guy for this job? Can he and the football team bounce back?
Touchdown, Ohio State strikes first.
They cracked his helmet with such a big hit. Look at that.
Touchdown end zone. Anderson breaks free. House call for Ohio State. The Buckeyes can begin planning for Pasadena. There is Smith rolling free. Breaks a tackle. Ohio State strikes quickly. Caught in stride. Abuka touchdown. Buckeyes on fire. Smith is wide open. It's a Crimson avalanche here in Pasadena. Travian Henderson gets momentum back for Ohio State. Sawyer knocked it out and picks it up. Ohio State scoop and score. Heavy pressure. Howard delivers downfield. And Smith, he's got it. And Ohio State is going to walk out of Atlanta national champions.
The story gets to get told now, and it's a great story about a bunch of guys who have just overcome some really tough situations. There's a lot of people that counted us out, and we just kept swinging and kept fighting. It's the reason why you get into coaching, is to see guys overcome things, learn life lessons, and then reach their dreams.
College football national champion Coach Ryan Day and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope you enjoyed that new intro we got put together by Cliff over on Big Ten Team Rivalry Show. Big shout out to Cliff and Mac. Make sure to catch their lives every Wednesday night. But tonight, we're discussing the Ohio State big win over the Texas Longhorns, of course, the nation's new #1 team. You're looking at the logo, brother. Ohio State's #1 again in its rightful place. Obviously, we're going to go over the big matchups that were this last weekend. Florida State humbling Alabama in Tallahassee. LSU versus Clemson making a statement win and claiming the true Death Valley. Notre Dame falling short against the hated Hurricanes down in Miami, Florida. And then, of course, Nico Iamaleava looking like a fool out of UCLA. But first and foremost, man, we are the #1 team in the country now. Ohio State reclaiming its throne, its rightful spot. What did you think of the Buckeyes' performance and in the opener versus the Longhorns?
You know, one of my initial worries coming into this game was, Matt Patricia, the new DC coming from the NFL many moons ago, was in college. And it was just like, I was really expecting growing pains, and it just seemed like he fit right in. I mean, just the scheme, the play calling was on an elite level. And even Steve Sarkisian, a great offensive mind, admitted that the play calling was at an elite level. I mean, he was confusing the heck out of Arch Manning.
Yep.
And it really threw him off his game. Now, there are fans saying that Arch is trash. His throws were inaccurate. Well, can we just take into account that maybe, just maybe, the fact that Patricia threw him off his game caused him to be extremely inaccurate and having just confusing the heck out of him. He wasn't able to read his progressions properly, just wanted to get rid of the ball. And it was just, it's taking away credit from this team's performance. And it's very frustrating to see that. I mean, dude, the whole narrative, the offseason heading into this game was Ohio State's going to get steamrolled. Ohio State doesn't stand a chance. It's going to be. I heard the term bloodbath. So
yeah, That's one thing that you and I talked about 2 weeks ago on our first live back from the season. The advantage, or what advantage Patricia might have for having nothing on tape, because there was nothing to study. It's something we literally discussed in our live, and it played out before the nation's eyes. And it was amazing. He called a masterclass. He confused, he befuddled, he absolutely got into Arch's head. And the other thing is, I think the moment was a little too big for Arch, but Matt Patricia played a big role in that, like you mentioned.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just one play I remember distinctly was Arvel Reese, man, looking like he was dropping back into coverage, turned his head for a second. It made the offensive lineman not key on him anymore, turned to someone else. And as soon as he saw that, he blitzed the gap and got to Arch Manning. Dude, that is the type of play calling that I was hoping seeing more with Jim Knowles. Because don't get me wrong, dude, Jim Knowles is also an elite defensive coordinator, but the things I'm seeing from Patricia, I wanted to see more from Knowles. So I'm just really happy with Patricia's overall performance. And also let's kind of shift towards the offense side of the ball, because there's talks that Julian Sane had a bad game. And just like if you go look back at the tape, you'll see that he made some really great throws. And one throw that really stood out to me, it looked like he was going to get sacked in the end zone by Colin Simmons. He puts the ball at the highest point for only Carnell Tate could get it, and that resulted in the first down. That really stood out to me. And just the calmness, the poise he has in the pocket, and then the throw to Ennis, the throw to Claire, put those right on the money. It's not his fault that they dropped it. So, it's looking more and more that what, Jeremiah Smith, the other receivers, and the coaches were saying in the offseason is just true. He's able to make any throw. And again, it's not his fault that his receivers dropped those passes, because those were great throws.
I was really impressed with Sands' composure, his ability to remain calm, not to out his teammates for the drops that were early in the game. All American Jeremiah Smith had two of them somehow, confounding us Buckeye fans. But he didn't get anybody's face, but he calmly led, he quietly led, and continued to keep his mind and not think about the past. He didn't let bad plays or drops negatively affect. Point being that right after Claire's drop on that 4th and 1, the next possession, his first throw was to Claire, that little laser in between three players on that quick slant route on the right side of the field, if you remember that play. I was impressed with everything. I still need to see more from the deep ball, because in my opinion, he was wide open and he had a couple steps on the defender, and it was pretty underthrown. But he still, like you mentioned, put it where Carnell Tate could do it, because honestly, not many defensive backs are taught to look back anymore. It's a lost trait. It's a lost trait. And so he did put it up there. I think that could have been a better throw, but that's nitpicking, that's critiquing. And we're gonna see how his deep ball develops throughout the year, because that's the only deep shot he took in the game. Everything was what the game was giving him, and Hartline was kind of
Peter. He had that. Oh yeah, that's right. The touchdown to Tate. But to his credit, that
that was the only deep ball.
4th and 2, when Smith was open. To Saints' credit, you're looking to just get that 1 yard, that first down. So it's kind of like, get the first down, new set of downs, and then we look towards the home run ball, man. So
exactly. That's your last read on every throw, and Claire was open. So I don't blame him for missing Smith being wide open at all on that. I don't blame him for that one bit. And to your point, he was very accurate with all of his throws, man. Like he just was. Like he was very crisp and accurate, and it was exciting to see. We're going to get to see as the season develops, especially versus Grambling here. We're going to see more deep shots. We're going to have players getting behind the secondary. We're going to have those things happen, especially in these next 2 weeks versus Grambling State and Ohio. We're going to get to see the full arsenal of the Ohio State offense. One thing I think a lot of people are overlooking, and Ryan Day said this immediately in the post-game interview on the field there with the reporter. He said, we didn't open up the offense. We trusted our defense. It was a lot like Trestle ball, playing conservative and knowing that Texas couldn't beat you with their offense. And so there was no reason to show this massive playbook when Texas proved that they couldn't score on you.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I like the tone that was set just with the overall defensive performance, not trying to do anything flashy. Because, dude, after the goal line stand, then stopping Baxter at 4th and 2, and then just seeing like how rattled they had Arch, and then Igbinosun, lockdown defense in the on that I think it was 4th and 5, and try to get him in the corner of the end zone. It was at that moment, those moments, I'm like, man, they don't need to do anything flashy. I mean, just take care of the ball. Especially the end, pretty much the mid fourth, when I was hoping they would sustain some drives to run out the clock. But dude, overall,
Seriously.
man, they did exactly what Day was saying to do, which was take care of the ball and get the win.
Well, you mentioned the thing, man. You're not going to put your defense in a terrible situation by having your quarterback take these risks. Sane didn't turn over the ball. Arch did once and very nearly twice. And so I'm very impressed with the way Sane handled things. People are still kind of out on him, and they have to see more. And I get that from an outsider's perspective. But from somebody from our perspective who's watching every snap intently, and I'm very critical on quarterbacks, I must admit, I'm nearly a perfectionist just because of how Ryan Day's offense is. But speaking of the offensive side of the ball as well, what did you see from Donaldson and Peoples, and how do we develop this run game, knowing that Texas has one of the best defensive lines in the country, but knowing that we need to see more from that from that aspect of the Ohio State offense?
Yeah, definitely. One thing that really worried me during the game was, going back to, late in the fourth quarter, where, I was looking for Ohio State to establish the run game so they can run out the clock and not have to worry about Arch Manning getting the ball back. And it seemed like they just couldn't get that going. And that really worried me in terms of, future opponents, such as, Penn State, for instance. I mean, they're going to have a stout defense, and there may, what, I'm going to predict against Penn State that could be a game where, maybe, Saiyan can't get things going, and you may have to rely on the run game. Because if you look at Jim Knowles' defense, at Ohio State, it was very very secondary focused.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, they really need to get that going, because there may be times that the passing game just isn't there. So that's what really worried me during the Texas game. Like, man, they can't get a push. I know that they had that one drive, that first touchdown that Donaldson got, but dude, I mean,
Sure.
Peoples has got to step it up. I didn't really like
Yeah.
what I saw from him. Donaldson seems like he's going to be like the bruiser back who gets those tough yards. I mean,
Yeah, he scored 30 touchdowns in his career in his 2 years at West Virginia. And I kind of envision him as being the goal line back, like we saw in the Texas game, but not RB1, the guy who finished the drives, kind of like Quinshawn last year. I expected a lot more from Peoples, man. He had 11 carries for 20 yards, bro. That's less than 2 yards a carry. That's unacceptable.
yeah, man,
Unacceptable.
but you
And it's not only his fault, but that's a yikes.
you also have to look at, like, dude, that's on the offensive line as well. I will say, man,
Yeah.
I liked what I saw in terms of the offensive line and pass protection.
Yeah, pass pro is good.
But I just didn't like what I saw in the run game. And again, that could be a serious issue down the road. Again, when you play Penn State, you play Michigan. I mean, dude, even Illinois, dude, even Illinois. I mean,
I
don't
got
sleep on the
to
Fighting Illini.
no, do not sleep on them. I
No,
got to listen to a little bit of Joel Klatt's podcast, specifically talking about the run game before we hopped on here. We did not have a run that went for more than 10 yards on Saturday. Not a
that's
single one. Not just 10. My goodness, bro. Like, that's got to change. If we're going to have a balanced offense, that's got to change. And I know it will. Listen, we're going to have multiple runs of over 20 yards versus Grambling State in Ohio. I get that.
I
That
hope so.
doesn't prove anything.
No,
That also doesn't prove anything.
it doesn't, man. Hey, but you know what? Ohio State may play a cupcake this upcoming weekend, but they deserved it, man.
Yeah.
That playoff run, the national championship game, and then they just beat number one Texas. So they definitely deserve a little rest until that home game. I mean, that road game. They head over to the West Coast to play the Washington Huskies.
Well,
So
it's nice because, we can focus on that a little bit now because, I mean, don't overlook the Bobcats. They're defending MAC champions. Their quarterback, Parker Norvell, he's very electric with his legs, and he's very good with his arm as well. But they're not a team that can actually compete with us on the football field. And so we'll have a couple weeks to prepare for that West Coast trip out to Washington. And so I'm excited about that matchup. But, yeah, man. Things to improve on, but a celebratory mood for us because we both kind of chalked this up as a loss, going into it. We both predicted a loss. We saw scenarios where Ohio State could win, of course. We didn't see a blowout. But to be victorious in that kind of a showdown after all we lost, man.
yeah.
That speaks volumes. And for all those people who want to say Ohio State's downfall is coming, I'll tell you what, you got another thing coming. You haven't paid attention the last 25 years because Ohio State does not rebuild. They
Hey,
freaking reload.
Hey, Peter, if I was on the outside looking at Ohio State's program and I saw the continuous success
Mhm.
under 3 different head coaches, I'd
Yeah.
be really sick, man. I'd
Yeah.
be so sick, dude. Because we've seen with other programs, once a prominent coach leaves, aka Michigan Jim Harbaugh,
Yep.
and
Alabama.
also Alabama as well. And no,
Oklahoma.
that's not a knock towards Michigan. I'm just stating, what happened.
Sure.
And then D'Antonio leaves Michigan State. They're in a terrible position. Don't even
Yeah.
get me started. They haven't beaten us since that 2015 game. And
Yeah.
then
Mark.
Urban Meyer, when Urban Meyer left Florida. But
Yeah,
the
no
thing is,
question,
when
man.
Urban
The
Meyer
downfall was
left
heavy.
Ohio State, they just left off where they pretty much started where they left off, man. At
They're,
pretty much almost at the top.
they're preying on a downfall. Mark makes a good point here, too. He says the Ohio State defense is strong. Defense wins championships. And that's what gives me a lot of encouragement coming out of this contest, is that our defense is strong. Our defense is strong. And that's fun to see, man. I know the offense will catch up. Defenses are always ahead of the offenses at the beginning of the year. We saw that in a lot of the other big matchups that transpired this weekend, as too, specifically LSU Clemson. But we also saw it in the Notre Dame Miami game and Florida State Bama as well, which we'll discuss coming up. But
You know what,
and,
Peter? What's
yeah,
crazy is the fact that they were able to pretty much duplicate the same red zone defense they had
insane,
last
bro.
season is insane. A completely different defensive line. I mean,
Yeah,
they stuffed Arch at the what was it, the inch yard line,
yeah,
and then
absolutely.
they stuffed CJ Baxter. Caden McDonald, dude. I called it, and he is a space filler, dude. Like completely stuffed the run game. No doubt. I mean, it's crazy, man. Go back and watch that last goal line stand against Texas when Jack
Sure.
Sawyer broke the heart of many Texans with that scoop and score. and then go look at that goal line stand where they stuffed Arch. Dude, that's a duplication of last
That's
season. It's insane, dude. And with a different defensive coordinator.
It's just hilarious to me because they thought about that moment all off season. I guarantee that sucker was playing in their practice facility nonstop, motivating them, knowing this game was coming, and then for the exact same scenario to play out, bro. It's hilarious from a
Oh,
Buckeye perspective,
dude,
and it's
all
got to be infuriating from the Longhorn perspective.
yeah, dude, all you had to do to get this team hyped up for this game and ready was just to put SEC talking face Paul Feinbaum on replay, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, it was hilarious. Go on X, go on his page, literally right after the game ended. He tweeted out the call-in number and
Oh
just
wow.
pretty much it. He said the call's Monday at 7:30 because he knows what's coming.
Yeah.
He
Well,
declared Arch Manning the second coming, said Ohio State didn't have a chance. He even went as far as just the delusion from this man. He even went as far as saying, "Oh, if Steve Sarkisian would have made the right decision and benched Ewers, brought in Manning, they would have won the national
yeah.
championship."
Yeah. He says a lot of outlandish
Oh
things,
man,
and that's why he
it's
says
too
them. To be
much, man.
completely honest, that's why he says them because he knows whether he's right or wrong, he's going to get a lot of calls on that subject matter, and I
Dude,
guarantee he did.
we should call him sometime, man. Because dude, I have some words, man. I mean, hey, you know what? He's gonna die on that hill. You know, he's gonna die on that hill. He's sticking to his viewpoint. So I guess you got to respect him for that. But dude,
Sure.
his takes are just I don't even know what to call it, man.
Well, I mean,
It's
he's a troll,
delusion.
bro, and his football knowledge is very low. He knows how to push the buttons of college football fan bases, and he is very good at that. There's no denying that. And so, it's been many years since I took a Paul Feinbaum quote seriously, but it does make me laugh, and I do love when he's proven wrong, and I'm sure he got lots of Alabama calls today too. Because when Alabama loses, that's a great thing for his show too. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, speaking of I'll touch up on this one last point. It's basically what I want to see
Sure.
the next game for
Yeah,
Ohio
go for
State.
it. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Let's list expectations.
expectations for me, dude. Look, we all know the defense is great. We saw what they did on Saturday against the #1 team in the nation, but I really want to see this offense open up, you know, really figure things out because I'm telling you, that road game heading to the West Coast
Mhm.
against the Washington Huskies, it could
Mhm.
end up being a tough game. Go look at the record of
Yeah,
teams, Big Ten teams that have traveled to the West Coast last season. It did not end well.
didn't go
So
well. 1-8.
don't sleep on them. They look pretty good. But yeah, dude,
I,
I want to see the run game open up more. I want to see Julian Saint in a rhythm. Give him more of a chance to sling the ball. Because, dude, these next two games, Grambling
Mhm.
State and Ohio, that is the time to just let
Yeah,
the offense do their thing. Mess
yeah.
around with play calling and really figure things out.
They're confidence building games, man. I want to see at least 550 yards of offense. I don't know if you remember this game. This is way back when, but this is the last time we played in HBCU like Grambling State is. We played Florida A&M, dropped 73 points on them, had like 770 yards of offense if I remember. It was somewhere in the 700s. And so yeah, I want to see at least over 550 yards. I want to see at least 56 points put on the scoreboard, and I want to see a nice balance. Obviously, it would be great if all the starters were pulled by halftime. That would be a phenomenal thing. Day's not usually known for that. He likes keeping his dudes in, which frustrates me. But if we can have everybody sitting by halftime, a nice 35, 42-point lead at the break, and let the backups get a little action,
And
that would be phenomenal.
speaking of backups, this is also the games to get a good rotation going. to
Sure.
get that experience in. So, I mean, let's be honest, man. That's one thing I've always wanted to see Ryan Day, implement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because let's be honest, man, over the years, he's just kept his starters in way too long.
Way too long.
Way too long,
Way too
man.
Yeah, it is frustrating. But yeah, on the some of the other matchups around college football, they're interesting. We touched on it a bit earlier with Feinbaum's comments, but the Alabama dynasty, bro, they're in serious jeopardy and in turmoil, I would say. I can't imagine the atmosphere down in Tuscaloosa right now with what DeBoer is going through. Another loss. The first loss for Bama since 2001 to open the season. And the Tide looked like they didn't give a dang about being there. They were not putting forth great effort. They were not putting forth maximum effort. And they got blanked. Ty Simpson stinks. That's what I think.
I just really want to show this clip real quick because I couldn't believe what I was watching, man. Keep an eye on number 18. Like, keep an eye on him. Like, this is just crazy.
Buddy, this ain't Alabama football right here. That is not Alabama.
Like, dude, just straight up embarrassing. Like, they went from a coach who is literally screaming his lungs out, up 30-0.
Yeah.
At the end, pretty much ending the fourth quarter of this, dude. I'm reading some just terrible things about what's going on with this program. I'm hearing literally the night before, the game, people saw Alabama players coming out of the rooms at like 1, 2 in the morning, getting DoorDash, and it's just like, this would never happen under Nick Saban. And then you got Ryan Williams, who is carrying his widow emotional support doll with him into the stadium. You might as well wear a Snuggie the next time, dude. I mean, what is going on with this program? And then, dude, if I was number 18 and Nick Saban was still the coach, I wouldn't show up to the film room because I already know what's coming.
He wouldn't allow him to. He wouldn't allow him to show up.
Wouldn't even, yeah. He'd probably be looking at it, call that player, like, hey man, don't come. We don't need you in film. I don't even know if you're on the team anymore. And that's,
you don't see a drill instructor.
That's not even like, me trying to be funny. That could have been a big possibility under Nick Saban.
It wouldn't be accepted under him.
I mean, man, you know what, Peter? I called it. I never really understood the hire in the first place. Just an offensive mind. And I said this before and I'll say it again. Nick Saban really understood what it took to win national championships year in, year out. Yes, recruiting is the lifeline, the bloodline of college football. But also he understood that, hey, if I have a top 5 defense every year and I don't even need a top 10 offense, I could have a top 20 offense, and I'll be in a great position to win the national championship. And that's exactly what happened. Kalen DeBoer is an offensive mind, and he's just turning out to not even look like, a leader of men compared to like what Nick Saban did. It looks like, the players don't fear him and they're, sloughing off, not giving their full effort. It's like, dude, they got blasted by Florida State. Florida State won 2 games last season.
2 games last year.
It's just not looking good, man.
We'll get back to the Florida State in a second, but because I have some comments on that, and do we need to reevaluate their position in college football? We'll have to talk about that.
Mark's
but
got a point, man.
He said Wisconsin may have a shot. I don't know if I go that far because it's in Alabama, and Wisconsin, and Fickle lost his quarterback for the year again. Although I don't know if he's fully out for the year. He's out for a period of time. Now, I watched a video that said this backup came in and did well, but I saw 17 points on the scoreboard versus a MAC squad, and that's not too encouraging for me. But that would be hilarious, and I would laugh hysterically if the Badgers can go into T-Town and walk out with a dub.
Dude.
And Fickle would be looked at very differently as well, even
He
though DeBoer is
would.
not highly
He
favored
would.
right now.
Dude, let's be honest, man. Like, I don't understand the hire. I just don't. He played in a soft Pac when the when the Pac-12 is still around. He played in a
Sure.
soft Pac-12 conference, offensive mind, and he's bringing that mentality to Alabama. Like, dude, they got gashed up and down the field by Castellanos. It wasn't even close. I mean,
They allowed him to talk smack and say Nick Saban's not around anymore in the spring, circling the game, the season opener, and then they allowed him to come in and do that on their defense. Former Boston College quarterback. He's fast. He's got wheels. I get it, but daggone, man, it was like something I'd never seen since the pre-Saban days, and it brought a lot of joy to a lot of college football fans. The one critique I have and I've seen this online from Alabama fans since Saturday's debacle is that, obviously DeBoer brought in Penix at Washington. He's a pass first kind of guy. Alabama's identity throughout history has been run the ball and play elite defense and have good but not great quarterbacks.
But dude, they've had elite
Sometimes great.
receivers, man. They've
great receivers to make good, not great quarterbacks looks better.
Whoa,
And
Peter,
he's like
Peter.
changing their offensive system. They're not. No. Let's not get into that debate again.
With the quarterbacks, dude, he had some good quarterbacks there.
He has some very good ones. He had some very pedestrian ones. Now, their identity is run the ball and defense. They didn't do either of that on Saturday. Well,
no, man.
And Bama fans have an expectation with those two. They didn't see it. They didn't see it on Saturday. And it's infuriating to Bama fans that are used to their identity. Much like Luke Fickell coming and bringing the air raid offense to Wisconsin, completely changing their identity. They're not used to seeing this style of football. And Ty Simpson cannot execute a DeBoer offense. Let's just be blatantly honest about that. Maybe Keelan Russell will get a shot.
Dude, they got gashed for over 100, close to 200 yards on offense.
Yeah,
ran against them, dude. I mean, that's just not your dude. I wonder, I wonder what this dude's buyout is, and if it's even being talked about. And dude, the funniest thing. So after the game, the coaches always have a press conference, and one thing was brought up by one of the pressers was, hey, you before the game, when you had your press conference, you brought up how well prepared the week you were and how well the week went. And DeBoer's like, I did. It's just like,
I saw that.
Like, what are you doing, man?
I saw that on the gram. He's got the pressure and the weight of the world on him. They're like the Ohio State fan base. They don't tolerate average in that fan base. They just don't. Now, I know they went through 8 coaches between Gene Stallings and the 92 championship and Nick Saban being hired. We might be entering a period where, we both think Kalen DeBoer most likely won't be the head coach entering 2026. Now, obviously, that depends on a lot of what's going to transpire the rest of the season. There's 11 more games to go, but they might be looking for a new head coach this offseason if things transpire and continue from what they looked like last year.
Hey, you know what I'm going to do either tonight or tomorrow? I'm gonna go back to that video I made at the beginning of the last season.
I did that.
Kalen DeBoer not being the guy. And I'm gonna be like, what now? Dude, I was mocked. I was ridiculed. They called me a madman.
Yeah, buddy.
You know what, dude? I was right.
I
was
actually
right,
had the
dude.
time today, and went back and watched that video. I wanted to give you a shout out for it. Rob said it
Oh
on the
man.
channel, bro.
And
So go
dude,
back and watch that. But
right now, recruiting may look good. It may look
yeah,
great because
it
they're
does.
top 5 recruiting. They're still riding the coattails of Nick Saban, dude. I mean,
Hmm.
let's be honest. Let's be honest. If Nick Saban wasn't the coach in 2023, they
Yeah.
wouldn't have made the playoffs. He really
No,
coached that team
I
up to
agree.
make the playoffs, man.
I agree.
Really
That was
coached
not a
them up.
playoff team.
No, that was not a playoff team, dude. But the fact that he was steering the ship, that really
Yep.
made a difference.
Yep. That's another debate. But Florida State, let's take a look at them for a second, man. Do we have to recalibrate our expectations for the Seminoles program? Because this 2 years ago under Norvell, they were 13-0, 13-1 with the bowl loss, embarrassing to Georgia, but half their team sat out. ACC champions. Then they went 2-10 last year. Everybody clowned Norvell and DJ Uyunglele. And now they get a statement win. Or is it really a statement win? What do you think, Florida State? How, if you could prognosticate the rest of the season, record-wise or whatever, how do you think Florida State season is going to unfold? Are they an elite team again? Or are they just kind of better than an average Alabama team?
You know, man, I really want to see more from Florida State.
Oh, sure.
Clearly, Alabama's just they're not good. I wouldn't,
Yeah,
I wouldn't
especially
say, oh,
defensively.
Florida State is back. I mean, kudos to them
Yeah.
for blowing out the Alabama Crimson Tide after your star quarterback pretty much called it for what it was. Nick Saban's not there to save him. But dude, like the eye test for me will be when they play the Miami Hurricanes, who just
buddy.
you know what? Miami impressed me when they got their win against Notre Dame. So
They look
the eye
good.
test for me is when Florida State, I think they're at Miami. If they get it done against the Miami Hurricanes, then you know what? I'll be sold, man. Because it's sure as heck not going to be East Texas A&M, Kent State, or Virginia. It's their first big test is when they play number 5 Miami.
Yeah, the Hurricanes and Seminoles are on a collision course right now. Obviously, a lot more data points to see, like you mentioned. I'm not totally sold on them just yet either, but I did not have the cojones to pick a Florida State upset over Alabama in this one. Everybody thought it would be a continuation of last year for the Seminoles, and they come on, defend their home turf like that, an electric environment, going crazy all game. And they might be a team to be reckoned with. Now, I see them kind of peaking out at 9 wins. I don't think they're quite good enough to reach the ACC championship, but we shall see. A lot more to learn from the Seminoles, but a heck of a start for FSU and Norvell, we both said was on the hot seat entering the season.
Yeah, I mean his seat is slightly less hot, but again, dude,
Sure.
that first test is going to be against the Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, we're gonna learn a lot more about them in that contest. Speaking of Miami, what did you think? That was probably the best game of the weekend, in my opinion. At least most entertaining. Like entertainment factor was at a high because college football is back, and we're super stoked and we're super excited. And I did watch bits and pieces or all of the games over the last 5 days that I could consume. But entertainment factor was a little bit down. Like defenses won the day. Offenses were pretty stagnant in most of the contests. But Carson Beck, the redemption tour, kind of started in Miami. He was cast off by his Bulldog fan base. I mean, he couldn't get out of Athens quick enough. And I wouldn't say he was amazing. He was 20 of 31 for 205, 2 touchdowns. Didn't turn the ball over. That's key. He did that a lot last year at Georgia. Turnovers, interceptions. But Beck, he made a nice statement in the game, and he outdueled Notre Dame's first-time starter C.J. Carr. What stood out to you in that contest that came down to a field goal win for the Hurricanes?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, dude. Every time, dude, Miami, they have a great field goal kicker. I wish Ohio State would get a.
No joke.
I mean, dude, you know what, man? That's not fair, dude. Fielding did his part, so I got to give it to him. But
Yeah,
man,
Fielding's accurate. He just doesn't have a
yeah,
strong leg.
yeah. But yeah, dude. Honestly, Peter, I thought that Miami was gonna do what they always did under Cristobal, which is fold and lose the game, and it looked like just that. But they proved me wrong. They went
They
down.
jumped out to that 21-7 lead and then collapsed.
Yeah, then they collapsed.
And then
I'm like,
recovered.
"Nope, the same old Miami is about to do the same thing that they've done, fold like a bunch of cheap lawn chairs, and I'm thinking like, dude, I had the post ready and everything, the short video ready, and it was gonna be titled NIL can't always buy you top 10 wins.
I love it, man.
That
I
was gonna
wish
be it. But you know what?
we could have posted that.
Hats off to Miami. They proved me
Yeah,
wrong.
they
But
dug deep.
you know what? The U's not back until they win it all, man. Or at least till they win the ACC and make the playoffs.
I haven't done that, man. They joined back in 2004 and haven't won a conference title yet. So yeah, they need to at least become a regional power before they become a national power
I
again.
was impressed with Carson Beck. That one throw
Me
where
too.
he threw it to the highest point where only his receiver could get it. That was that first touchdown. And I'm
That was
like,
insane.
dude, I wonder if Georgia fans are gonna miss him. Maybe
It made me
maybe
think
not.
of our boy Rancidity for sure.
Yeah,
And
definitely, man.
and some other Georgia podcasts I follow. I forget his name, HTPF Dogs Cast or whatever, and Uncle Lou as well. Made me think maybe you cast them off. But yeah, I was dead wrong with this, man. I had Notre Dame just slobber knocking
Yeah.
the Canes, and that didn't play out at all. And so it makes me think, obviously we have one data point to go off of. We can't overreact one way or another. But it was an impressive game, honestly, by both teams. But the Hurricanes obviously prevailed. And C.J. Carr, the Saline, Michigan native, from right around the corner where I used to live, I saw him in high school, man. He was 19 of 30, 221, 2 touchdowns, but he did have that critical turnover, and that potentially cost him the game. He didn't look quite as sharp as Beck did in that contest to me. But he settled into the game, obviously. They came back. They stormed back, but wasn't quite enough. It fell short.
Yeah, in terms of like Miami's schedule,
Mm-hmm.
I think the only game they dropped this season is when they had to Gainesville play the Florida Gators, dude.
Ooh. They play
I-
both the
that-
Gators and the Seminoles.
That's potentially the only loss they could have, dude. But you know what, man? It's Mario Cristobal. You never know. You can't fix the U with money. You could try. You can only do so much. So
It's gonna be fun to watch their season, man. I'm not sold on Chris Ball as a head coach. Even though he came into the Horseshoe and got a nice win in 2021, this is his first real big statement victory in Miami since his days at Oregon. So it is also another tape that we have to see unfold. We need more data points, but they passed game one with flying colors, man. I'd rate them highly. And I think they're probably appropriately ranked at number 5 in the country right now.
you know
A
what's
little stiffer
crazy?
defense.
You know what's crazy, dude? The fact, Justin Scott's on that team, Marquise Lightfoot's on that team.
Sure.
I mean, we got to see Dylan Stewart over the weekend, and at one point they were all going to be Buckeyes. They were all going to be Buckeyes. But
Yeah,
you know what?
the ones that got away.
We'll be just fine. They'll be just Ohio State will be just fine, dude. I mean,
They seem pretty good. We
Yeah.
seem pretty all right. How about
if they want to get paid,
yeah,
that's fine, man. You can't blame a player to get paid. But at,
Yep.
at Ohio State, you play every year with the goal being a national championship, and that's a fact.
There's an expectation in the brotherhood, and selfishness is not allowed in the brotherhood at Ohio State. And we weed out some players that are in for the bag, and so
If
there's
if you
obviously some players that have gotten away that we wanted in the past that were good culture fits. But if your sole reason is the bag, step off, man. You can go somewhere else.
if you want to count money in the
Thank God.
club,
Thank
if you
God.
want to count money in the club, you go to Miami, dude.
For sure, for sure. So an impressive win for the Canes. How about the Bayou Bengals and Dabo's Tigers going at it, man? What were your takeaways from that? Another defensive struggle, a lot like Ohio State, Texas, of course. Cade Klubnik, man, I'm pissed at myself for falling for the hype. I'm not gonna lie. I went back today. I had a little time, and I watched a video of me clowning Clemson, saying you're a regional program. This is just 8 months ago. And apparently in the offseason, I totally bought in with Klubnik and the receivers and a Dabo resurgence. And I'm shooting myself now, man, because they look like they're still just a regional power, not a national power.
I mean,
Couldn't defend their turf.
I'm gonna call right now, man. The two best quarterbacks in all of college football right now. It is
Who you got?
Garrett Nussmeier and Lenore Sellers.
That's a good shout, bro. That's a good shout.
Garrett Nussmeier, he's going to be Heisman finalist. I mean, dude, if you go look at the NCAA site in terms of quarterbacks last year with the most production, Garrett Nussmeier was top 5. The rest of those quarterbacks above him moved on. So dude, he's going to be the real deal. You already know that they have receivers at LSU. They got really speedy skills players. And just overall, man, dude, I called it. I called it that this would this LSU team is, they're a veteran team. They got a good amount of starters back. But I did also call Clemson winning because, due to Brian Kelly's just inability to not only win season openers, but just with the big games. And he proved me wrong. So kudos to Brian Kelly. However, I did predict, when he got to LSU that he was gonna, have them right there in the running. And it looks like this could be their year.
How does that recalibrate your expectations for the LSU Tigers, man? Are they now a serious threat and an SEC contender, or are they just did they just beat what is the best of a weak conference?
I'm
somewhere in the middle,
dude. I mean, we can't take away the fact that Dabo Swinney is a top 3 head coach in all of college football. This was a very veteran Clemson team.
Yep. That's why I picked him.
Cade Klubnik was the one of those quarterbacks who had was in top 10 in production last season, and he didn't have those wide receivers weren't any slouches either. They had a lot of production last season. So the fact that they pretty much held Cade Klubnik, I mean, just the performance he had, to me, that was impressive within itself. And you know what? The lame excuse that pretty much Dabo had in the press conference about giving LSU them both low grades. I mean, he gave Clemson a low grade and he gave LSU not a better grade. And Brian Kelly said it pretty clearly. You did not watch the second half. Who knows where? I mean, dude, that second half was not pretty at all for Clemson.
It wasn't.
So kudos to Brian Kelly snapping the opening Caesar losing streak ever since he got to LSU. Because remember, he lost to Florida State 2 years in a row. Then he lost to USC, and he finally snapped it, and he got his big win. So
I'm not ready to catapult them into being SEC contenders just yet. Although, wholeheartedly admitting that was an impressive victory. At night in Death Valley in Clemson, South Carolina is not an easy place to win at, no matter who you are.
Okay.
And so I give my credit to them. Harold Perkins and Whit Weeks and the LSU defense, they did their thing, man. They limited that offense. Who I picked, Cade Klubnik, to win the Heisman Trophy. His Heisman hopeful stats have plummeted, as well as the man that Cliff brings up, Arch Manning.
Yeah. So here's what's going to be the tell for me, man. September 13th, they play Florida. September 27th, they play Ole Miss, who's ranked 20th. October
Where are these
11th,
games at? Make sure, because that's a big factor.
So the first one, I think they'll be traveling to Gainesville. Second one will against Ole Miss, they'll be at home. And third one, I think they'll be at South Carolina. If they can win 2 out of 3 of those, I'll be more confident in Brian Kelly's ability to lead this program in the right direction.
Sure.
Is Arch Manning still a Heisman hopeful? You know what? I'll answer this real quick, then we get back. Ran to a really good defense on Saturday. A really, really good defense. Matt Patricia clearly threw him off his game. He missed some really easy throws. It could be his mechanics, or it could be the fact that, Ohio State's defense and what Matt Patricia was throwing at him was in his head the entire game. So my thing is, Peter, what will they say? What will they say if Arch Manning goes on to have a really great season, which there's a big possibility he will. And then they'll have to go back to the Ohio State game and be like, oh, Ohio State did have a great defense. Matt Patricia is an elite defensive play caller. So, but I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna say yes. I want to see more.
I'm not gonna write off his odds either. I mean, he dropped from 1st to 6th after the game in Heisman odds. That tells you a lot, but it's going to be fun to see how he performs the rest of the season. Is he overhyped and a bust and not an elite quarterback, or does he go on to lead the Longhorns to a successful campaign and potentially an SEC championship appearance, SEC title game? They got some tough tests, the Sooners as well.
But I will say the top 2 Heisman hopefuls right now for me are Garrett Nussmeier and Lenore Sellers, dude. Lenore Sellers, dude, he balled out, man.
Yeah, you can't.
Let's not lie about that.
I can't disagree with you on that. I mean, I really can't. Like,
he's a dual.
Those were the best performers, along with DJ Lagway, but that doesn't count because he played Long Island, so that doesn't matter at all in the Heisman race. But he's a phenomenal quarterback too.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said Lagway could definitely be up there by the end of the year.
He could certainly be in the conversation only if he can stay healthy, which he hasn't been able to do through his first year and a half in college football.
I feel like this is going to be a quarterback invitational for the Heisman.
It seems like it. Yeah. There were no massive running back that popped off this last week. And Jeremiah Love, maybe he'll get into the conversation at the end of the year, but with a loss, probably not. So to open the year. Well, we'll see how that goes. How about, those were some fun matches. Florida State, Alabama, LSU, Clemson, and Notre Dame, Miami. Obviously, the big one coming up this weekend, the only big one, hence why game day is there, is the Wolverines versus the Sooners. Now, where I live now, I live in a Michigan household, and so I watched the majority of the Michigan contest. As well as a little bit of LSU Clemson. But Bryce Underwood looked good, man. He looked ahead of schedule. He looked like he has the swagger and the confidence to lead this team. And he looks like the team believes in him already as a leader of that team. There were a couple things I saw here and there that weren't great, but the big thing that stood out to me was when New Mexico made it 17-10. There's 2 minutes left and some change in the half. And Bryce came to a 3rd and 14 after 2 stuffs. And the momentum had really shifted in that game somehow. Little turnovers, and then he throws a strike on the seam on a post route on 3rd and 14, and then ultimately leads them down pretty effortlessly to take a 24-10 lead going into halftime. What were your takeaways from Bryce from the week one? And obviously, we're going to learn more versus Oklahoma. But what did you think of his performance? Opponent caveats apply.
I really hate to admit this, but he's ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like your average freshman. He's ahead of schedule. I just had this feeling that he is going to thrive in an environment like Norman when they go play Oklahoma. That just pains me to say that, but I'm not gonna lie about it.
Yeah, you got to be objective.
Yeah.
Any person who watched Bryce's first performance as a college quarterback has to objectively say he performed well. There were a couple missed throws there, a couple of potential interceptions, a couple of risky throws. The scary thing is, man, we talked about this on the phone on Saturday night. Clearly, they were telling Bryce not to run the ball. And then once he adds that to his arsenal, my gosh, dude, what a quarterback they've got on their hands in Ann Arbor. My goodness, man. I guarantee he runs a couple times this week. He has to. You have to use him to win against a defense as good as Oklahoma.
Yeah, to Cliff says, Bryce will be fun to watch this season. Still curious the defense will keep up, but we'll know more at the Oklahoma game. In terms of the New Mexico game, what stood out to me is they didn't get that much pressure. I'm not too confident in the secondary, and Oklahoma skill players aren't New Mexico skill players. What I saw on tape, they're better. If Michigan cannot get a good pass rush going and make him uncomfortable, because I've seen what John Mateer can do when given time to step back, go through his progressions. I mean, he'll pick them apart, no problem. But also, I saw a throw where they made him. I think they played Idaho State.
Illinois State, yeah.
Illinois State.
Whoever
FCS
it was. Program.
But I seen where they made him step in the pocket and he didn't have time to read all his progressions. He made a mistake. He threw in triple coverage. So that's definitely something to look at. But also, like I said it before, man, Sherrone Moore last season had a lot of coaching deficiencies. Peter, we went to his parking space last season. We wrote on a poster board what his record was going to be. He ended up doing 2 games worse than that.
Doing even worse.
Did even worse. We tried to give him some credit, but I'm not sold on Sherrone Moore yet. If they lose this game, good chance it's because of him.
Well, one thing, that's a great point. And I agree. We're not totally sold on Sherrone yet. I think he did make a good hire in Wink as a defensive coordinator, and that's proven to turn out well. I think part of the reason why New Mexico State was getting points on the board and scored 17 for the game, where I only predicted them to get 6, is because they were rotating so many players. 26 different defensive players played in the contest versus the Lobos, and there wasn't a consistency there. I'm not quite sure why Wink was doing that, because you want to get ready and prep for this Oklahoma game. You want your starters to have enough tape to study to be prepared for this immense challenge that is approaching down in Norman. But yeah, no, I mean, the other thing I wanted to say was, Bryce looked immaculate, and he did. There's no question. We talked about it, and we're talking about it now. But he also had all day to throw. He was never pressured either. And so Oklahoma, with their defense as good as they are, they're going to get some pressure. So we're going to see Bryce under duress. We're going to see him outside the pocket and have to make some throws off platform. We saw a little bit of that versus the Lobos, but not much. And so we're going to get to learn more about Bryce and what he's got. But like we said at the jump of this conversation, man, he's got it, bro. Like, there's no denying he's got it. And he's got all the confidence in the world. And it's going to be interesting to see now. The other part of the Michigan offense, man, Justice Haynes had gaping wide open holes, And it seemed like whenever Jordan Marshall came in, they didn't want to block the same way for him because he had no holes, penetration, defenders getting through, stuffing them in the A gap and the B gaps, and taking him down for a loss. He had 23 yards rushing or 29 yards rushing on 11 carries, like just under 3 yards a pop. It'd be fun to see how well they run on Oklahoma and if they can take the pressure off early like Justice Haynes did for Bryce.
Yeah, if this becomes a, possibly a shootout, and let's say that Michigan is, inside the 30 and it's like 4th and 2, 4th and 1, those are the things I want to see from Sharon, pretty much.
Yeah.
Go, I mean, you gotta go for that point. And just
Situational
in terms of clock management and timeouts and just trusting the personnel you have around you.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that just I didn't see it last year, man. So this is his first big road test this year. Can he get it done? We'll see.
Right. No big road test last season for the Wolverines outside of Ohio State, of course.
I was about to say, man, we can't say that.
No, it will be interesting to see. I think Bryce, to your point, like you mentioned, he's the kind of athlete, just based on his pregame antics, who is going to love being booed by 85,000 fans down in Norman, Oklahoma. He's the kind of athlete that's going to fuel him and fire him up even more. I can just see that's the kind of competitor he is. He likes the challenge. And that's what you want to see out of your athletes, especially as a quarterback, as a leader. So I am highly anticipating that contest to learn more, to have more data points. Obviously, hopefully seeing a Michigan loss, that's what we want to see. But I think my perspective on this game has certainly shifted after watching Bryce and the Wolverines offense compete.
There's no doubt he's out of the schedule. I mean, let's call the contest right now.
Sure.
Are you more of a believer in? I mean, look, here it is. We've seen Brent Venables the last 3 years. Doesn't seem like there's much of a change. Are you more of a believer in Brent Venables or Sharon Moore?
Golly, bro. Oh my goodness. That's so tough, bro. That's a wonderful question. If I had to lean, I would say slightly more Sharon Moore, because I've not seen Venables win a big contest yet at Oklahoma, and I have seen Sharon do that. Now, am I confident in either? I'm not very high on either of them. Venables has completely shifted their identity to now be defense first, when previously they had no offense, or previously they had no defense to speak of. He's a defensive minded guy. That's what he does. But if their offense doesn't come along, he's going to be fired from the Sooners this offseason. There's no question. And Sharon, not quite. He has some more leeway. Even if the season goes south, he wouldn't get fired this season. 1, because Bryce is there, and 2, because it's just his second year. So I'd lean slightly more Sharon on that. He said, what I appreciate about Sharon Moore is that he's a patient coach. He is that. He doesn't seem to panic when the momentum shifts. That's probably his number one attribute for me too. I would say he remains calm, and that rubs off on his players. It really, really, really does. Now, Urban, that was probably his biggest weakness. He panicked when his team got down, and it was all over his face. Very clear to the broadcast. Sharon does do that well. I need to see more in-game management and situational football, what he does and how he handles these moments. But he does seem even-keeled. He does.
Yeah, I'm not a firm believer in Brent Venables. He's pretty much shown you his hand like all 3 years and seemed to be improving. He had that like one good year, I suppose, but other than that, didn't look too good last season.
Oh wow.
I mean, I do have Michigan pulling this one out, but if they don't, it will be because of those coaching deficiencies. I just want
Those
to see
things you
more.
laid out. Hopefully,
So,
I know they're going to be rowdy, man. I lived in Oklahoma for a couple months one summer, man, and they are die hard about football because for the longest time they didn't have no pro sports there. The Thunder moved there, but man, they are crazy about their Sooners and their Cowboys, and I'm excited to see just what kind of punch that Norman, Oklahoma crowd brings to get into Bryce's head, man. We're gonna see how they handle it as a whole. But one last thing I wanted to talk about before we jump off the live tonight, man. The Nico Iamaleava situation, bro. He left, as everybody knows, in a one of the craziest things I've ever seen in college football of a player leaving a program who just went to the playoffs, going to the doormat of the Big Ten outside of Northwestern. Pictures
and Purdue.
of 100,000 packed stadium in Knoxville to maximum 20,000 at the Rose Bowl out in California. What is Nico? What was he thinking back then? We all said it then. But seriously, now that things have unfolded, getting waxed by Kyle Whittingham and the Utah Utes, why did he do that?
I don't know, man. What was he thinking at the end of that game against Arkansas when it was fourth down and
Yeah, bro.
there was,
Seriously.
what was there, like 8 seconds left in the game?
Yep.
And he's like, should I throw it? Should I run? Should I throw it? Oh, too late. I'm out of bounds. He dove out of bounds. Like if there was
Didn't even throw it to the end zone to give him a chance.
It's fourth down. It's fourth down. And he's not even trying to get the first. He's like, should I throw it? Should I run? And not only that, the clock runs out and he's trying to get out of bounds. Dude, you had to get the first down first. And then, sure, if there's time left, run out of bounds, dude. Like, but no,
cost him the
not
game.
only did you stay behind the line of gain, but the clock ran out.
So we're just saying that he's not a good decision maker.
Yeah, I mean, really, he's at UCLA. He was seen with a walking boot on after the game, dude. I saw a video. So
I didn't see that.
We'll have to see more what that was about. But dude, I don't know how much UCLA offered him, nor do I care. It's clear he's not there to win ball games.
Oh yeah,
it's clear as day about that. And dude, that's the thing, man. Not many players are about winning ball games. I mean, dude, who was that? Who was that cornerback who decommitted from Ohio State and now at North Carolina? And we saw North Carolina get completely waxed last night against TCU.
Yeah, no, they mentioned him in the broadcast. Actually,
it was Lockhart, dude.
Okay, Miles Lockhart. Yeah,
Miles Lockhart, dude.
Good memory.
You can't tell me you went there for the development to win games, dude. They literally dropped the contest. I think 47 to 14. So
yeah, Nico, man, we knew he wasn't an NFL quarterback. We knew that when we saw him play against us last year. We were more afraid of Dylan Sampson in the run game than we were Nico. He went for a vacation out to UCLA. He went for the paycheck as well. And it's going to call him back to cost him because he had a potential to get drafted. Slight potential. If he stayed in Volunteer Nation. And UCLA traded Joey Aguilar, who absolutely torched the Orangemen down in Atlanta. And it looks like UCLA is just dumber than rocks. Not saying Joey would have done great either at UCLA had he stayed because their talent is so poor. Yeah, buddy. Brian, what's up, man?
Number one team in the nation.
Yes, sir. But it just seems like, I mean, daggone, like Tennessee came out smelling roses with that quarterback trade. The AZN style says Nico was tough, though. We saw that with how many helmets broke. He was tough, man. He kept swinging. He kept coming for us. But what I had seen throughout the year and in that game, he just wasn't an NFL QB. He's not, in my opinion. He is tough, though. That Polynesian culture, man, they're tough.
the stunt he pulled though, man, holding out, I want more money,
Bro.
and then just he blew it. He blew it, man.
Yep.
No one can save him.
We
So
mentioned North Carolina briefly. Obviously, that was the weekend's cap game, man. Just briefly, what about the Bill Chapel, the Chapel Bill,
the
Chapel
chat.
Bill, man? That's off to a rough start, bro. And
Yeah, dude.
not
Like,
surprisingly.
you know, there was this meme on Twitter. Yes, I still call it Twitter. I'm never gonna call it X. Yeah, there's this meme on Twitter,
Okay.
and it was this drawing of a horse, and the first part of the horse looked like it was done by like a famous artist, and the last half of the horse looked like it was drawn by a 5-year-old with his eyes closed.
Oh gosh.
And it was titled North Carolina's first drive, and then the rest of the game. And
For
it's
sure,
basically
bro.
that's a perfect analogy, dude. Like, what were they doing? I mean, I remember I saw their quarterback just made the biggest rookie mistake. Not only did he telegraph a pass to the sideline, but he threw it on the inside, dude. That is a rookie mistake. When
Can't do that.
my father was, he was out there, teaching me the fundamentals to be quarterback. That was the number one thing he taught me when I was like, okay, when you throw the sideline, you got to make sure it's on the outside.
Yeah, buddy. Only the receiver can get it, or it's safe.
Oh yeah, definitely, dude. Bill is definitely learning that college is a whole different game, dude. I guarantee you, his personality just does not fit in, man.
There's no way it meshes.
No,
There's no way it meshes and appeals to these high schoolers and these recruits, these college age students, man. It's just no way. And so this is always going to be a short term experiment. They're doing it for the investment in the program, and they have to go a different direction. I mean, Mac Brown, he did good in his first couple years and obviously faded, but that program needs a start, a jump start. And Bill Belichick, I never understood that hire. I don't understand why they brought him in. Benjamin says, "Roll Tide." All right, well, you can say that if you want, but they got some work to do. They got to hit the weights more, and they got to play disciplined, defensive-minded, running the football, or else DeBoer's not going to be lasting very long. But
definitely.
But yeah, it should be interesting, man. Who do you think is going to come out of the ACC? Do you think it's going to be Miami and Clemson still, or maybe Florida State jumps in there? We talked about that a little bit earlier, but who do you think are the serious contenders in that conference? Louisville, probably not this year.
He put, "We need to fire Kalen." Yeah, dude, that would be that's a great first step, man. I mean, dude, he completely re-innovated Nick Saban's old office, man. It looks like a giant charging station for an Apple store. So
Jeez, Pete, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, definitely, dude. But I don't know, man, dude. I want to see more. I'm not going to give them on Clemson quite yet. I mean, they surprisingly won the ACC last season, and they have pretty much had the same players back. So
they'd still be my pick at this point, but Miami might have something to say about that. But
we'll see, man.
Yeah. Miami and Florida State are the. Let's see. You said Ohio State has a home with Bama. Yeah, they do. I don't think it'll be DeBoer by then. I don't think DeBoer will be the coach in 27, 28. And then Easy Styles comes in and says Miami and Florida State are the two big ACC teams. I still think Clemson is overrated. Interesting. They very well could be, man. It could be. I don't know. I have to think that Clemson is still the big dog in the conference until somebody says otherwise. They proved it last year with a surprising ACC championship. But they're certainly not off to a good start. I really was much higher on Cade Klubnik, and I really swung and missed with that prediction of him winning the Heisman. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to watch that battle unfold. But no real actually national contenders coming out of the ACC, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean it's the ACC, man.
So
Yeah, definitely. But
No, man.
is that all we got,
I
dude?
think,
Is that
yeah, I think that's all we
pulled
got
out
for
everything in
tonight.
the
We
bag?
covered the gamut. Not a lot to look forward to in this week, too. Obviously, just the Michigan, Oklahoma. If you're a sicko freak and you like watching Iowa State in what's titled the El Asico rivalry because the football is so terrible, then go ahead and by means watch that on Big Noon Kickoff at noon. But yeah, not a great slate this coming weekend, but college football is back. We're stoked about it. As you see down below, we go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And so we hope you guys subscribe and join us every
Yes,
Tuesday night
please if
as
you're
well.
new, thank you for joining. If you're a regular viewer, thank you for joining in. Click like, subscribe. Go tell your friends. We're
Yes,
we're
sir.
here every Tuesday, 7 p.m. bringing you the boldest takes in college football.
Come on.
We're on the road to 500. And, we appreciate each and every single one of you for tuning in.
Yes, sir. Thanks to everybody that joined us today. We saw some new names in the chat. That was really fun. But that's going to do it for this one. Go Bucks and God bless. We will see you on the next one.
OH.
IO. Let's go Bucks, baby.